You know, it's a voice that Americans want to hear.
Christopher, how do you feel about this one?
Well, as someone who's brought up in Fleet Street, I can't get very excited about the idea of bias in newspapers. I mean, the British press, and I've even noticed some tendencies to this sort in Australia, can be extremely partisan, and you would be a bloody fool if you didn't know what political party the newspaper you were reading supported, and if that wasn't reflected in its coverage. I can't get too virginal or too maidenly in my disapproval of this kind of thing. What does give me diarrhea, I mean quite acute diarrhea, are the people who say that they are themselves the guardians of objectivity and that can't be challenged. The New York Times every morning has on its front page a thing that says all the news that's fit to print. If that doesn't make you barf, what will? Now, Edward J. Epstein once wrote a very good book on the origins of the American networks. And he did big interviews about all the people who ran them. And it was all complete. He hadn't got a title. And he went to do one final interview with the head of NBC, who said, well, Mr. Epstein, some people report the news from one person's point of view. Others report the news from another person's point of view. We report the news from nobody's point of view. So he had a title. He called the book News from Nowhere. It's that kind of bogus objectivity and neutrality that's to be watched out for. People who let you know where they're coming from are fine by me.
Okay, so the heavens have opened above us. People are walking outside us. Perhaps that's a good time for one last question. I don't know how I've done in my sweep here, but I think we would come back to the front here. And how about the gentleman in the front row? Beg your pardon? All right, the gentleman I can barely see in the back of the room. Last question. Please shout.
Ma'am.
I cannot hear you, I'm sorry.
I can. He's saying there's a question for Comrade Hitchens.
Oh, there we go.
I have ears like a bat for that kind of thing.
Your antenna raises on Comrade Hitchens? Okay.
But you might give it some welly, sir.
Yeah.
Produce it up a bit.
Against all odds, I have to say.
Before I ask my question, Comrade, could you hang around for 5 to get me to sign a couple of books?
Oh, I'm supposed to say, I think there are lots and lots of book signing opportunities for you all outside, presided over by Glebe Books.
And also, I want to publicly thank Comrade Hitchens for his...
Comrade Hitchens is being publicly thanked. I don't think that sounds like a question to me. Is there a question? How about right here?
No, it means there's a but coming.
I have a question.
Okay, last chance. Going once, going twice.
On Obama's lack of leadership on Arizona, offensive legislation against Spanish-speaking, basically Spanish-speaking people.
Yeah, I think we do.
Basically nothing about it.
Yeah, well, I think the panel actually did just refer to it. The US Congress is reintroducing legislation provoked by the Arizona legislation, which I think many people in the United States find repugnant. Is that it?
Yeah.
We're going once?
Yeah, now we'll be nice only to people with receipts.
We're going twice?
The pro bono bit is over. Thanks for coming. Bye. Gotta go. No,
that's it? All right, we're out. I didn't get to end the session. Thank you all. Thank our panelists. Thank you so much for being in the audience.